Hi guys, welcome to the fourth episode in our first series of development. Today we are going to work with the user input. PHP wasn't designed to work in a console and with user inputs, but we will handle this. So let's get started. In the last episode, we print our beautiful game board. Now we need to configure our input. And that's what I also mentioned in our first episode, that we are going to use WSL, which is Linux on Windows. And for a very simple reason, Windows does not allow to catch all the characters and always requires enter. But we would like to make it a little bit we would like to make a user experience a little bit better. So how we can do this? First, we need to have a handle, standard input, open, and there is a file name, but as a file name, we will use a protocol. And we want to read from this protocol. We don't want any write anything there. Because we are going to change a behavior of our console, it is good practice to store the current settings. This command will return us a configuration of TTY. Now we are going to change settings for our needs. Yeah, so we want to grab everything and we don't want to output what user type. We will handle this by ourselves. And at the end, we want to set configuration back to what we just stored. In between, we would like to listen for a key press. So the easiest way is to do this in a while loop. Yeah, here we grab our key, and here we print with enter. So let's see how it works. To enable WSL, we need to call WSL minus D and distribution Ubuntu 20.04. Here is our console in our folder. Let's clear screen. And you can see our report, and there's a cursor waiting for our input. It's A, S, D, F. So it seems to work. There's a one downside, we don't have any exit code. So for now we need to press Ctrl C to break the script. And there's another downside, because we didn't set the configuration back. So we may have some issues with main console in our WSL. The easiest way is just to exit from WSL and rerun this again. That will reset all the settings if you break something playing with the console settings. So let's improve our user experience. So let's say we want to build a command. Let's call it action. We start this like this. And to let know user that he should type anything, let's echo some invitation comment. Yeah, something like this, and let's see how it looks like. As you can see, partially it works. Our command is longer and longer, but we print this our action every single time. So that's not what we actually want. So what we can do with it? We need to go back to our Ansi codes. And in this Ansi code, we can find this section, control sequence. There is a G, and here, as you can see, if we type 40G, it moves our cursor to the column number 40. So let's grab this one. So in our case, we need to move to the column number 0. It will be something like E0G. And let's try to do the same here. And now go back to our console to see how it works. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, now it works way better. Let's make this user experience a little bit better, and let's wait for some command. Let's call it exit, while as long as action is different than exit. Okay, and maybe let's add this command when we press enter. How we can handle enter? So enter has a code equal 10. So what we need is to check if it's is equal to 10. If so, let's see if that will work as expected. Enter. And so we will see that enter was handled correctly. Let's go to our console, clear, and print A, B, C, D, maybe D. Press enter. Yep, we can see the enter was pressed correctly. And now the enter is a part of our action. That's why it adds lines. So let's clear it, run again. And what will happen if when we type exit? You see, we exit immediately without pressing Ctrl C. And there's one quite important setting that we can set in our input to have this key press not blocking the whole while loop, because now it will stop on this fetching key, but we don't want this behavior. So, and that simple command will stop blocking, waiting for user. And just quick fix, say that we want to add this what user pressed only if it's not enter. A, B, C, D, enter, and it works as we want. And obviously we want to execute some command pressing enter, and this command will affect our board that we would like to reprint again and clear our action to be able to provide a new one. So far we were overwriting our action every single time with the longer text, which is fine because we covered more and more space. But now when we press enter, we will have action truncated to 0. So how we can erase our line? So let's go back to Ansi Code again, and here is very useful command. It's called K, which means erase in line. It will erase our line that we can reprint again. So we don't want to print this below our cursor. We want to go up to the point where it was printed. For this, we go back again to our documentation. And here we have A. A moves up lines. Yeah, like 9A move up 9 lines. So let's copy this one. And paste it here. So let's go here. How to combine all these comments here. And it's a tiny refactoring, removing this else statement, just clearing up what was pressed. Action was also erased. Here we clear our line. We go up 26 lines. It is 3 times 8, 24, plus header and tail frame, so there's 26. We print our board and we are ready to go. So let's see how it works. Let's run it. As you can see, our board is exactly as it was. There's action. We can type something. And when I press, I'm not sure if my recording will catch it, but you will see a small refreshing, especially on the action line, that we reprint the whole view. And maybe you can see. And let's type exit, and we are out. So now we have code for enter, but what if user will make mistake and would like to press backspace? So backspace has own code, so let's make ORD key press, and it is equal to 127. In this case, what we would like to do, we'd like to echo something, which means that we would like to write what we have in action, but one character shorter. So how we can achieve this? As usual, we can go to first column in the current line, and then let's do this. There's a missing escape. Then we would like to write text. It can be like spaces. Yeah, with length like action plus, let's say, 15 characters for this action space, this prompt stuff, and that will be string. And after this, we go back to our first column. And because it's a printf, we want to print spaces. Our action is one character shorter, so it's a substring, and one from the end, and key press we will erase. And that should be it for implementing backspace. We are in our console. Let's run it. A, B, C, D, backspace, and perfect. Enter, works. A, B, C, D, E, backspace, 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 backspace. Exit, all commands work. And there's one more thing that I would like to implement today, is this performing some action when we press enter. So let's call perform action, action and board. We don't have this function yet, so let's go here and define. But the board, you want to use a reference because we are going to modify it in our actions. So first we want to check if it's not an exit. If it's not an exit, we don't want to do anything here. If it's not exit, so let's, it's probably a movement. What can else it can be? And here we need to pause for a second again. If you go to official documentation of the Chess Federation, how to notify movements, there's something called algebraic notation. But from my point of view, there are too many if statements because they do not describe from where to where the movements happen. It is just describing the destination, let's say. And if there are two figures that can reach the same point, for example, you have two rocks and they can move because they are aligned, so then you specify. So there's too many if conditions. So that's why I decided for this game to choose notation well known from the Excel and all other software like this, which is like A1 to A2. And I think it is obvious that we want to move figure from the field A1 to A2, and everyone knows this, at least I think that it's pretty obvious what does it mean. And later, if you would like to export this for the officials, you can convert this to some DERS notation. But for our needs, this one doesn't have any if statements. All movements will be notified and described in this way. It will allow us to validate user input. There are no conflicts. It simplifies everything. So let's stick with this one. So having this notation in mind, so we can do from to, and in PHP we have explode string by that character. And we don't have a movement function yet, but let's call it movement, and from to, and our board. And let's define our movement function. For now, no validation, just to see if the commands can be recognized correctly. We need to make this conversion from A to some numbers, so let's do this quickly. And a few words of explanations. Here we do not play with small and capital letters. I convert everything to lowercase, and based on ASCII codes, we can convert this to numbers, subtracting 97. In a PHP, we can treat string as an array. So if this is A1, like this, so from 0 in this case is equal to A, and from 1 is equal to 1. Yeah, that's why row we describe in numbers. That's why there is no need to to convert anything. The same we do with the conversion with 2 column. Then we take a figure which we are going to move, and it looks tricky, but remember that we have a one-dimensional array with 64 fields, so they are one next to each other. That's why if you want to move something from the row number 1, which is the last one, not on the top, that's why we have this 8 minus 1. So let's say that we want to move from A1, which is 7 times 8, right? So this is 8 minus 1 times 8, so it is 7, and the column is in this case will be 1. So there will be at the very bottom on the left side, and we want to make this field from where we take our figure empty, because we are moving figure, and we want to do the same math but for the 2 position, and we would like to place our figure in that place. So let's see if that works. This is our board. Let's say we want to move from A2 to A4. Voila, it works as expected. In other way, A7 to A5. The same. Exit still works. So I think that we handle our user input pretty well. So that's all for this episode. Thanks for watching and see you next time.